Well, I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, great, I know what they're doing. I know. Sean yesterday said, well, you're buying it hook, line, and sinker. I was like, well, whatever. He did the same thing that everybody else does. Get out. I don't blame him for it, though. He calls me, he says, well, you're sick and you need help. And I'm like, I'm not sick. So streamcasting here. And I don't know if maybe anybody else thought maybe it's them that are sick and they are yourself. And they just can't see it. Or I can't see it either. I know what I sound like. But buttons, Dirker, button pusher. Which isn't doing anything. I just push buttons. Don't do anything. Desperate people. I'm tired of having people call me a bad person or an evil man. And I would leave. Not because I don't have anywhere to go. I can always go stay at the shelter again. No, because I actually do love Sean. It's not fun waking up like that every day. With lots of different thoughts in your mind. Just like, oh, God, now I know what they're planning. I refuse it. And I'm not going to talk about really sad things. I'm just going to talk about things that happened in my life. Right. He said, well, you bought it hook, line, and sinker, right? I said that already. And I'm just giving you all the details. Not that a lot of them aren't known. When I was little, I was sexually assaulted or tortured. It's not really an assault when you're a child. It's torture. I don't remember. Well, there's parts of my memories that I don't remember. But the things that I do remember were at the Wilmer State Hospital at the adolescent treatment unit. Having one of the other boys sneak into my room and jump on top of me. Night after night after night. Another one of the older boys. I was the youngest boy there. said there was something about survival that had to happen. I had to survive, so it was, and I told the staff, so there was no, they didn't do, they said they did something, but in many ways, a lot of, well, kids know. And then they said, well, who did you talk to about it? And I'm like, other kids. I don't want to laugh about it, but sometimes I'm like, that's all I have. Sean said this morning, that's what you get for pretending to be something that you're not. When I was with your mother, or with Tara, and like, that angers me so much. I don't see people like that. But that's just another way to get at me, make me mad. A shallow, narrow view of what love is. And love's not all, but I like that. Get out. Be out of here by the time I get, blah, blah, blah. Sure. Where are you? And there were other times. I don't need to go into all the other times. When I was an adolescent and when I was a boy. I don't know what to say about it. A lot of times I keep it out of. I guess I learned how to deal with it pretty quickly. Because on one hand, it was a matter of surviving the environment in which I was in. And on the other hand, it was like, oh, not tonight, please. I need to just get some sleep. I can't do this anymore. And did I hate men for it? Or other boys? No. And after a while, okay. It became okay. And that's really a weird thing to say. Like, how can sexual torture become okay? And you're like, well, what else was there? It wasn't like the staff were going to do anything about it. They didn't. So what else was there? Acceptance, or I remember I was a small kid. Overly sexualized small kid. Well, and that was in the custody of the state of Minnesota too. who was supposed to be my parent, since I had none. Well, except the other staff who were, I would consider, they raised me or were responsible for raising me. Not that there weren't red flags already, documented red flags. So, how do you go from doing that then to being teased about being gay and then having a girlfriend or a person of interest? I love a lover. Oh, and then, flipping back and forth between men and women angered people or confused people. On some level, there's that whole sexual desire to just get off. And on another level, there's this whole companionship issue. And to me, it doesn't really matter so much the sex of a person. I've said that before, and that's really hard for people to accept, or some people. Sean said I used people. I'm like, yeah, I'm just using people. Yuck. I have a hard enough time dealing with myself trying to figure out how I'm going to use somebody is like, I would think that would take some great effort. And we go back and forth. I mean, on issues. I mean, we're perfect for each other. Right? He tells me to leave and I keep coming back like, I'll show you. I know, like, you're not getting rid of me that easy, mister. And he just, and I'm like, that's an easy way to get to me too. But I'm learning. And it won't affect me because after Sean, there's going to be no one else. Well, in many ways, he's right. I have to protect you from people or protect people from you. I hear all the time, you're not who you think you are. You're this person, you're that person, you're this person, you're that person, you're this, you're that. And I told Sean this morning, well, I set it up so easy for them to just do whatever. I mean, I made it the language really confusing. So it was you, me, I, we, they, them. Anyways, this isn't going anywhere. Anyways, I feel like I've been talking to the same person for so long. I don't even know. I mean, not you, Steven, me, but I had this big flash of revelation. Like, oh, it was just him that I was talking to. Like it was all set up in the beginning, or sometime around 2009. And I told them I felt like I was being watched back then. I used to take pictures across the street. Some would say, well, that was just drug paranoia or drinking paranoia. I was like, no, there's a difference. It's really strange. Kind of cold in here. The air conditioner's on. Otherwise, it gets really humid. Getting back to the sexual abuse stuff or torture. Um, yeah, so what are kids supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? Well, sometimes if you tell, you're like shamed and blamed, and you're not believed. Well, and then kids find other kids that they can talk to because I think sometimes kids know, like, they have radar or they have like a sense that other kids have been hurt. Their kids are smart; they pick up on things, and people might wonder, well, why didn't you ever talk about it in counseling sessions? It's because I did talk about it with the experts, other kids, and sometimes you didn't have to say very much, or sometimes it came out in different ways. Kids know how to talk about it without being blatantly honest. It's a scary topic too because no one wants to talk about their sexual organs or genitals or penis or vagina or anus or mouth or just inappropriate touching. it's not, well, and that's the thing I did. I was like, well, no one's going to do anything. I'm like this little tiny 11-year-old or 12-year-old. I guess I just got to, and like I said before, I didn't go into puberty until I was pretty late. I don't know, like 17, 8, 16, 17. So it was really difficult time. And some people might think, well, is that how you can just be with a man and a woman and not have to worry about, you just get used to it? And it's like, no, that's not how it is at all. I don't know. I mean, I've been with men who are more caring than some of the women that I've been with, and I've been with women who are more caring than, are meaner than some of the men I've been with, and I've been with women who are really nice, and I've been with men that are really nice, but I'm the common denominator. You're just mean. No, I don't think that at all. I think I can be argumentative and difficult and saying things without without saying it directly. Or maybe I do say it directly and I do say how to hurt me. Well, then I'm not surprised when it happens. I might get angry or a little bit frustrated, but I'm not surprised. Is that an attention seeking thing? Probably not. And would I be surprised at the end of everything if people said this was all meant to get you to open up and talk about things? And we're sorry that it hurt, but it was necessary. Would I be surprised about people that they would do such a thing? I wouldn't be surprised because it would validate my belief in humanity, that it's both ugly and beautiful. So how to, well, and sometimes when there's tortured children, children write poetry, they do music, it comes out in music or poetry or writing or alcohol and drugs to escape it, or bad relationships or truancy or misbehavior, right? And I'm not sure what else to say about it. Because in a lot of ways, I did talk about it too in groups at the state hospital or the adolescent treatment unit. We just talked about it in different ways, about feelings. One night I remember in particular, I was crying upstairs, pretty hysterical. not like funny, but I mean, I was crying and they locked me up for that in the quiet room and they were going to give me meds. I thought, that'll teach you. Don't cry anymore, not where they can see you. So the system that is like punishment, express your feelings, have feelings, but we don't want to see them and we don't want to know them. And so it is kind of like this reward and punishment. You know, you get level this, level that, and you'll get to go on a home visit or a day visit, or if you do this, we'll let you see your kids. If you do this, you know. It's strange, I just was thinking about that. You know, the soul being ripped away, or the spirit being ripped away from the physical body, maybe put through treatment of its own, like that damned soul. We'll fix one or the other, the soul or the physical body, or the physical level. I already said that even if something was done to like, I'll probably end up alone. Yeah. And this is all just goes nowhere. I bet you it's been like this for quite a while. And in fact, last night I was thinking back about it's probably been going on for a while. If my family did it, I could walk away from them. Any branch of them. And thank them. Thank you. And then have nothing to do with them ever again. Part of me would know then that that's the cost is freedom and liberty and justice. Well, and an understanding that humanity isn't all, you know, roses and gardens. Well, and then to be a reflection of it myself, just ugliness and beauty on the inside, destruction to creation, suffering, joy. People are like, well, you're not joyful. Well, it's hard to be joyful with negativity, intrusions. And isn't that funny? Some from doing sonar, sound. We'll get to you through sound. And I think what people read, or if anybody did read, I know they did because they went through my court papers and all my medical records in the apartment. I could tell because the pages were all rifled through. Yeah, so what are kids supposed to do? Well, they don't do anything if they don't feel safe. Oh, they rebel. Remember when I said oppression breeds resistance? Well, and then not just oppression in the physical sense of confinement, but in the terms of and that can be taken as however you want to take it. Just a game. It is a game to some people. Spoiled rich kids. That's what I keep thinking about. And it's not like I have money because I'm dirt poor. A game. Well, there's the human game. I'm in a being playing it from birth to death, just the game of life, remember? It's a different time. Just I resent that though, that people are so they think they know me so well that they say, well, you don't love, you pretend to be straight or gay or in the middle. And they're like, that's just an act. And I'm like, all right. Well, because you can't get to my feelings on either side, or men and women. I mean, you can dig into my memory, not on the computer, but in my brain. And you can see things and you can make me recall things, but you can't get to feelings because they exist sometimes outside of memory and outside of in a place where they can't be reached sometimes. It's hard to like tap into that. Well, and you wouldn't want to reproduce feelings in an artificial environment. Well, for one, you'd have to ask yourself then, does that make something real if they can feel? I don't know. I do feel like I should just go hide somewhere for the rest of my life. Save people the trouble of getting rid of me. It's pretty hurtful. This whole state of confusion. But it was meant to hurt, so I suppose pretty hate machines on. In many ways, I told Sean, I said, even if something really bad had happened to me in the past, or happened something really bad happened, I would rationalize human behavior and just say that, or if it was all just a trick of the mind, hypnotizing a chicken. Get it? Then I wouldn't be surprised either, because I would just be like, well, see, validates your belief in people. What's funny is we're watching that show last night. I won't mention the name because I don't really remember what the name is, but it was about this crazy family, and they're all different. But it's like, I wonder if people look at it and go, oh, that's just an actor and they're portraying straight life or gay life or family life or child life, or and get all upset and protest and say that doesn't represent me. That's just a stereotypical view of what gay people are like, or straight people are like, or children are like, you know, or immigrants are like. Our parents are like. No one does that. Not very many people. Oh, maybe there's people who do. But can you imagine that? Just like protesting film because it's not representative of real. I don't know. Well, you can say kind of in a way, everybody's life is a movie, or we're all acting like you're at work today. You're gonna be an actor, act your part, play your part in the restaurant, or well, in many ways too, we act because we have these ideas about what's acceptable behavior, what's unacceptable behavior, what's moral, what's just, what's truth, what's love, what's this. Temple monkeys, right? It makes me think, are the other monkeys looking still? It's really not so great all the time walking around being me, being Steven Philip Lindquist. It's Sean said, if there's only one wish that I had for you, it's that you don't beat yourself up so much. And I'm like, right, stop that if you can. It's not sadness that I'm talking about. And that's the other thing too. Sometimes I think people think, why do you have to talk about such sad topics? And it's like, because it's not sad for me. It's it was life. And life is what it is. And people are, well, that wasn't my life or my experience or my, it's like, well, great. Maybe you remember all the joyful things and, or whatever parts of it that, you remember. I just remember different things. And I remember what I learned from them. Well, as a kid, I learned that if you tell, you're not going to always get help that you need. And that's a bad lesson to teach children. It's also bad to like force them into something that they're not ready for. And so you have to walk a really fine balancing act between how do you allow children to talk about things or talk about events that have happened without pressuring them. I guess you have to determine that at the time and to see what their maturity level is. Not easy though, because some kids are more mature on some levels than other levels. And other kids seem like they can tolerate a lot. So is that part like genetics, or is it part spirit? Like, I don't know. It's a good question though, because yeah, maybe I should just be alone. I drive myself crazy though sometimes. But is it part your genetic makeup? Like, what percentage of this genetic material is present, and does that make a difference in the way people tolerate stress, change, adaptation? Even though it's all change, it is all stress and adaptation, and it's all one thing. Or is it like an inhabited host, or a spirit that's inside the individual? And that spirit, you could call that code or genes or DNA. Or, I don't know. That's the real, some of the real questions to ask is, how does that, I know when I sit still too long, I get kind of blurry. That doesn't make sense, but it will. Um, I don't know. So I don't know. It's just good questions to ask, and to like think about yourself. Like, I know, right? I just don't know how that happened. Think about it. It's just, I mean, whatever your belief structure is, on some level, we all still have like DNA and coded material that's within that, and unlocking that is like, what do you do? I mean, what if we just unlocked it and then everything was real? And it was like, whoa, now I get it. Yeah, it's difficult. And physical abuse too, or torture. I keep those memories. I mean, I used to have night terrors and couldn't sleep at night, and ruminating over thoughts. I suppose I do ruminate still a little bit, because they're ingrained in a way that's not going to be stopped. they're ingrained in a way that when things happen, they're like, okay, well then I'm like, fatalist. But yeah, physical violence too is, well, that's what it is. It's just violent. I don't know what else to say about that except hurt kids do hurtful things. And sometimes I'm like, well, why don't you just tell me the truth then? Or tell the truth. And I'm like, well, I could handle the truth. I can believe just about anything. I would be like, oh, I can believe that. Does it hurt? Yeah. Are you surprised? No. You think it's right or just? No. I understand. And I could live my life like that. I get it. On some spiritual level, it would be torture. And that would pollute a lot of energy. Not knowing is worse. Well, not just because of assumptions, because I'm curious, or because it's not the first time I've been lied to. Well, and I was just thinking that too. You can kick me out of physical locations, but not out of my heart. And I think you know what that means. I mean, that's where my home is. So, just a colossal joke, though. I mean, and people will say, well, he was this, and he was that, and he was this, and he was that. And It's a perfect excuse to not believe me. It's like the credibility factor is totally gone. But that's all right. I don't have to be believed. Just plant seeds. Our thoughts. And over time, those change people. So does physical presence of people. Or I believe that. You can believe what you want. It's your own journey. But there's a reason people have like these alerts that, like, I get it. Like, if somebody's in my presence that I'm like, I don't like, I am, I don't know. It's just a weird, I was going to say a daily ritual. A daily ritual of waking up Steven Philip Lindquist. But I like my life. I mean, yes, I think it could be easier sometimes, and yes, I mean, possible sometimes, difficult. And I tend to push people. I push myself. I'm not doing it so much anymore. Like, I'm not going to school anymore, ever. Those dreams are dead. So, no, not that a PhD would give me credibility, because it it wouldn't anymore. And I've been in school long. I was in school long enough. No, it doesn't prove that you know jack shit about life. And my life might not be the kind of life for anybody else, but no one else had to live it. So I mean, I'm like, I'll just drink my Mountain Dew and smoke cigarettes every once in a while until I quit. Some of the stuff I don't even want to say because it's like beyond the scope of understanding in the present, the future. It's somewhat beyond the understanding of where we are as a people. I told Sean yesterday or last night, I was like, well, I see things. I see buildings going up. And I said, it's better than watching those nuclear bombs go off inside my mind. And just, that's scary. But it was like, or fire burning things down. I'd rather see building. And so, and there's, talking about forgiveness and about there's it's a hard topic. Well, because I can just forgive and walk away, or I can forgive and be in the moment, and I can just I can put it out of my mind to an extent, but because of my curiosity and because of my the way I am and the way I was taught and stuff that I learned, and being Steven Philip Lindquist, I'm like, I, you know, if I was on like permanent vacation, I'd be like, what are we doing today? I don't know. Let's do something. We're on vacation, you know? But it's not like that. Anyways, so for me, if I was going to tell anybody how to approach like sexual torture or physical torture about children or adults or memories that surface, I would try to say, people talk about things when they're ready. And children, it's hard to tell because they might have already talked to other hurt children. And then you compete with them. And a lot of times you have to get down on their level. Not just physically, like get down and talk to them face to face. You have to, well, first you have to understand like the peer group that they talk to. Like who were the other hurt kids in the school that they were communicating with? Or not so much who they were individually, but look at the dynamics of it. And then figure out a way to ask them in a way that's non-threatening. Or maybe have them tell you a story. And there's key words in, well, and then individually the kids are different. So you're going to have to figure out, how, I'm not really sure what to tell you on that one. It would depend on the situation and the child. And it would depend on a lot of things. It would depend on the adult too. But keep in mind that you're competing with other hurt kids. And that is a struggle. Because hurt kids find each other. And then you're caught up in that game of you can't be there. You can't be their peer group because you're not. It's hard to share similar experience with children. But sometimes that does create a safety net for kids, like, oh, you went through it too. Sometimes it creates this other dynamic. You might not want to do that. You might want to, well, you got to think about it. And in the heat of the moment, I mean, what's every parent's first reaction? Kill. But the first reaction should be, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you safe? And put everything else aside besides the safety of your child. I mean, the other stuff, once you figure out if they're safe mentally, and then you can deal with the other stuff. It's not easy. It isn't. None of it's easy, though. I don't think living is all that easy sometimes. And then most of it we do just by rote behavior. We don't actually think about living. It's just down the street, in the house, down the street, to bed, breakfast, lunch. Oops, I forgot lunch. Dinner, to bed, to work. We don't sit there and think, fun, joy, happiness, sadness, different direction to work today. Because we're just walking or in the car going, oh, how did I get to work? I don't even remember. Oh, I've done it so many times that it's like, I didn't even notice that other car. Oh, they're still behind me. Do you know what I mean? I play this funny game at work, or to unlearn patterns. And I usually, when I started, I would put the chairs out in one, I'd do it the same way every day. And then I started changing it. Like, I'm going to mix it up and just put chairs in random spots. And I didn't do it the same any day. But the randomness was sort of a pattern too. It gets confusing. But I thought that would make me stop thinking about something in the same way. Who knows? I just do it because it keeps me occupied. But I do see the value in it. Doing, like, if you always drive the same way to work, and when you get to work and you're like, I don't remember driving here, then it's like, well, you've been doing that so long, maybe you need to take a different route. So you unlearn those. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know, give it a shot and see if it helps. Like, oh, and then when you go back on that same route, say like a few days later, you might notice different things that you'd never seen. Like, oh, there's construction here. I drive by it every day. I didn't know it. Oh, they're building a freeway. Oops. I missed that. What happened? Well, it's because it's rote behavior. It's just like Well, and we teach, I mean, not we, because I'm not in psychology anymore, and I was only in the, I guess it was the theory part of it, because there wasn't any application. Because it wasn't a clinical degree, it was more a paper degree. But I mean, they teach rats to do that too. Take the same route to the food. And then they mix it up, and the rats are like trying to go the same way. And then they're like, okay, well, I got to go that way. Not that we're rats. I'm not comparing people to rats, but you see what I mean. And it's not that hard to condition people. It's not that hard to be conditioned either. And so think about that in your life. Think about, are you being conditioned, or are you conditioning people? And that's, are you teaching people pattern behavior, or are you getting patterned? It's, I think you'll know what I mean. It's a, well, anyways, I'm done. I'm done streamcasting. I can't call it broadcasting anymore because it seems like it's on a stream. I mean, that's what it means, right? To be online, to be streamcasting or streaming. Oh, well, no one asked questions, so I guess I'll wait for that to happen. I'll see you later.